What's cracking, everybody? It's your boy Jalen back again with another episode of Illini Fan Rant. Don't know what episode this is. Uh, and next to me, I got my co-host, Leverett KT in the building. You know, if you want to say something, say something.
Hey man, what's good, everybody?
Um, and Illinois is coming off a disappointing loss to number two ranked Baylor in the nation. It's an 82-69 loss. Sadly, KT, I know you want to get into some questions, but before we get into some questions, I want to read off some stats that are important. Uh, Adam Miller, true freshman, probably the best freshman on this Illinois team. Shot 2 for 11, only scored 4 points. Struggled. It's gonna happen. It was Baylor. It's against a good team. I'm not mad. Adusumu, I can't say the same for you. You're a junior. You were on a Naismith watch list at the beginning of the season. You struggled. You shot 6 for 18. You scored 18 points, but you forced things. You didn't make good plays. You really, you really played bad out there. Uh, Gorgie Bashanas-Villy, I liked you. You were like one of the only players that played a a good game out there. You show effort. You show heart. You scored 15 points. You made 1 3. You were Illinois' most consistent player on the floor. And then Kofi Cockburn or Kofi Coburn, I don't know what he wants to be called. You played bad. You were not useful on this court. You were terrible. You made some low IQ plays. Played terrible on the defensive end. Played terrible on the offensive end. Got in foul trouble early. You weren't really useful this game, and that sucks. And also, I want to say Illinois had 12 turnovers, which hurt them, and they allowed 16 offensive rebounds to Baylor. Baylor had 16 offensive rebounds. That is bad. You, to win a game, you need to win the rebounding battle. But that's all the stats I have right now. KT, you got any questions for me?
Yes, sir. So before we get into the questions, at halftime, um, Jalen texted me, and I'm gonna read what he texted me. He said, "Coach Underwood needs to let Trent and Adam bring up the ball more in the second half and draw more plays for AU off the ball because he's trying to force things on offense." So I felt like this first half prize fight. I would love to see this game again later in the season, possibly in the national championship. But y'all know I equate things to boxing. I'm a huge boxing fan. But it felt like a prize fight, and it felt like the first 6 rounds of a 12 round bout. Like the first, you feeling each other out. You're not really throwing any haymakers at the time. You may be throwing a couple jabs, maybe a straight here and there, maybe try to counter punch him with an up or a hook. And I felt like that's what they were doing in the first half. And so, boom, halftime comes. And I'm going to read what Jalen said again. He said, Underwood needs to let Trent and Adam bring up the ball more in the second half and draw more plays for IU off the ball because he's trying to force things on offense. Did Coach Underwood make the necessary adjustments? And if he had listened to what you had said, do you feel like things would have played out differently?
Yes, because Io he kept trying to force things. He kept trying to because Baylor kind of like keyed in on him as the primary ball handler. Of course, it's easy. It makes your life easier when your coach can draw up plays to let you move off ball, draw up screens or whatever he needs to try to get you open shots try to get you in rhythm and everything else. I feel like this game could have gone different if he did that a lot earlier or even after halftime. But you know, why would they listen to me? I'm just a guy sitting in the chair talking about Illinois, watching the game. I'm not the coach.
um, so I think we both agree they didn't make the necessary adjustments, but I feel like this game this early in the season, it isn't a loss, it's a lesson. It's a great
Yeah,
thing as a reminder after those first 3 games. Fighting Illini look invincible, but this game is not a loss. It's a lesson. It's early in the season. They will have more prize fights. Up next, they got Tennessee Martin on Saturday, so they need to get over this game quite quickly. Next Tuesday, Duke, number 6, who lost just yesterday to Michigan State, versus number 5 Illinois, who lost tonight, of course. And then after that is Missouri. So these next 3 games, what do you see from not only the players, but what do you need to see from Coach Underwood these next 3 games, especially the second one I mentioned, Illinois and Duke?
From the players, you need to see more off ball movement. Even without the plays, you kind of want to have you don't want standing statues just everywhere, just waiting to have the ball in their hands. And then when they do have the ball in their hands, they pass it as soon as they get the ball, or they take 2 dribbles and then pass it. You don't want that because then your half court offense becomes stagnant. Then it's hard for you to score in the half court, and the team and the defense that you're facing will know that, and they will try to force you to score in the half court because they're going to try to slow down fast break scores. Um, you also need to see more hustle. I think you need to, and from the coaching staff, I think you need to see adjustments. Uh, Today, DeMonte Williams was clearly getting out. He was getting manhandled down low. And I believe that the guy he was holding was 35 pounds heavier than him, and he looked probably about 4 to 6 inches taller than him, which is not a good matchup when you have DeMonte Williams playing power forward who's 6'3". But I mean, he's like 200 pounds, but that's good and all until you meet a dude that's 235, that's 6'7". Uh, Adjustments. I don't know. He needs to figure out the lineups. I think he needs to bring Adam Miller, and I'm talking about Underwood. He needs to bring Adam Miller off the bench at best, just because when Io is off the court, we seem to struggle creating offense at times. We didn't seem to struggle this much this game, but we can in the future. That's what happened last year a lot. I think Adam Miller is our second best shot creator. I think Andre Curbelo is a good piece. I think if he can move Andre Curbelo to the starting point guard spot, move Trent Frazier over to shooting guard, and move Io over to small forward, and you can get away with that in college. You can because lots of teams play small ball. So we need to see adjustments. We need to see hustle and all the above, really, after the next 3 games.
I think you said a lot of interesting things there. I think the first thing um, we need to address is the IU. I feel like a lot of times, my apologies. I feel like a lot of times it's kind of what we seen with D'Antoni in Houston last year. You know, get the ball to James Harden. Everybody else just kind of watches. And while they may work in a regular season in the NBA, but you're right, you need more motion, you need more off-ball screens, and it probably will benefit him some, just like it did with Allen Iverson, with Larry Brown became the coach of the Sixers. Like, hey, why don't you go to the off guard and let Eric Snow or Aaron McKee or something like that play the one. So you mentioned a 3-guard lineup, and we always talk about how we feel like that college basketball is guard dominant. And I'm going to bring up a team that you may or may not remember. Remember the 2006 Villanova Wildcats? It was Jay Wright earlier in his career, and they ran a 4-guard setup. Their 4-guard setup was with Randy Foye. He played in the NBA for a little while. Allen Ray, who was a sniper. He was an absolute sharpshooter. Kyle Lowry, who's still in the NBA, and also a kid by the name of Mike Nardi. But Kyle Lowry, even though he's a point guard, but he's a bigger guard. Same thing with Randy Foye, Allen Ray. Like I said, he was a sniper. And I'm not sure if they made it to like the Sweet 16 or something that year. So you can be dominant and play with, like you said, a 3-guard setup without a small forward.
05 Illinois did that. They played D Brown, Darren Williams, and the head, who were 3 guards.
Hey, that's great comparison. So where do you go from here? How do you get prepared for Tennessee Martin? I don't know. I think instant reaction. I know probably what about 4 minutes left in the game. You text me and was like, I'm ready. like you were ready to because I know this game annoyed you, but I would caution all Fighting Illini fans, like, this isn't the end. a game like this in the beginning of the season can certainly be a lesson, and y'all can bounce back from this. So Tennessee Martin, I know you're gonna be peeking ahead to that Duke game, but Tennessee Martin, y'all need to come out and y'all need to really obliterate them.
Yeah. Uh, but what you said about UT Martin, we need to come out. We need to uh, uh I don't know how to say that word for real. Uh, but basically, we need to come out and destroy them. And we need that because that will give us momentum heading into the Duke game.
Mm-hmm.
These next 3 games will tell us where this Illinois team is going to be at in the future. Just because Missouri is our arch rival,
Mm-hmm.
and it's no pun intended because Missouri, St. Louis, arch, yeah.
Oh
And the pun
wow,
intended in
wow!
that.
I see what you did there.
And that's always like a most important. That's like one of the most important games of the season. This UT Martin game will be important. It won't be as important as the 2 games after that. Uh, I feel like the Duke game and the Missouri game will really put to a test of how good this Illinois team is and how good Brad Underwood is.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people were trying to compare this team to the 05 Illini too much. I'm like, this team is nothing like 05 Illini. They don't have the shot creator. They don't have the same coach. Bill Self was better than Brad Underwood. Dave Augustine was better than Kofi. Um, and Roger Powell was better than DeMonte. Uh, and I just feel like people compared them too much. I feel like I'm kind of happy we lost today. I feel like that it kind of knocked Illinois fans off their high horse. Like, oh, we're this good team. We should win the Big Ten. Like, yeah, now it's time to come back to reality and face reality in this face and be like, we could not make the tournament this year. I'm talking about the NCAA tournament because, of course, every team makes the Big Ten tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Or if we do make the tournament, we cannot make a big run sometimes. Uh, I think going forward, Underwood needs to address some stuff. I think he needs to address the identity of his team. I think this team has forgotten the role of how they got here. Um, I think they have forgotten that it took them 4 years, 3 years really, because Trent Frazier is really the only, and DeMonte Williams are the only people that have been on the team 4 years. But 3 years, these past 3 years have been past 4 years has been a struggle, and I feel like this team has forgotten what got them there, and it's like they're privileged, just like, oh, we don't have to work as hard.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that they're not working hard, but I just don't feel like they're trying to work as hard as they were last year. So I think he needs to address this team as like we're we're clearly not as good as we thought. We need to put more effort in, like we did near the end of last year, to to try to show Illinois fans and the rest of college basketball that we're here and we're going to be here for a while.
So it's a couple of things I want to address with that. Your defense this game gave up just 31 points in the first half. In the second half, it
Yeah.
gave up 51 points, which is a lot of points and a half in a college basketball game. Do you feel like the emotion got the best of them in the second half?
It
Do you
was
feel
the
like it
emotion.
was emotion? Do you feel like it was a lack of execution? What do you like? Like I said, 51 points is a lot of points to give up in a half.
It um it was the second one. It was a lack of execution. It was a lack of communication on defense. It seemed like lots of players were just open. Also, it's not just the defense. It was the fact that Illinois got a lot of turnovers on offense. They Illinois turned the ball over on offense, which you can't do against good teams because good teams will make you pay. Uh, but when they were on defense, most of the time, I feel like it was like when you got to like the 10-minute mark, I feel like it was like a lack of execution. It was lack of communication, and it was a play that I'm like, man, it's over with. it was a play to where Baylor caught a lob, and it was like the fourth lob of the game that was complete. I'm like, it's over with. I'm like, just put the nail in the coffin. I'm like, they're up 12. Illinois tried to make a comeback. It's not happening. So yeah, it, it was an emotional game, I think, for Illinois, and it was like a lack of execution was the big part of the defense.
All right, so I want to put things perspective here. So, Ayo Dosumu, I always butcher his name. My apologies. It's not personal.
Hey,
Um,
you ain't the first person.
but last year, if you remember, he was considering putting his hat in the NBA draft.
Mm-hmm.
Then he pulled it out, and then on Twitter he said, "I won a national championship." I believe,
Yeah.
I truly believe, even after this loss, it's early in the season. I believe that this team is good enough for a serious tournament run. I think that we're starting to see the dynamic of the NCAA change, and I mentioned this in the last episode. Teams with upperclassmen win. As great as that Duke freshman team was when they won it all in 2015, they needed Quinn Cook. It's the reason why we haven't seen Kentucky win a championship since 2012, even when they had Karl Anthony Towns a couple of years later in 2015, and they got upset by who? They got upset by Wisconsin when they had the kid. What was his name? Frank
Kaminsky.
Yeah, Kaminsky.
Frank Kaminsky and Sam Decker.
Sam Decker, yes. They had upperclassmen who had been there, done that. So let's put things in perspective. I'm going to ask you a couple of rapid-fire questions. Can Illinois win the Big Ten?
Yes.
Regular season.
They have talent to.
Can they win the Big Ten tournament?
Yes. The other question is, do I think they will? No.
Do you think they'll win either? Regular season and or Big Ten?
On regular season, yes. Big Ten, no. Big Ten tournament, no.
Wow. So do you think it will be lack of execution? Because in my opinion, they are the best team in the Big Ten.
It would just be because at some point the offense is going to stall out, get stagnant, just like it did today, and it's going to come back and it's going to bite them.
And so what about when March Madness gets around? Hopefully COVID settles down by then and we can actually have a real March Madness and the tournament of 68 with the the 4 play-in. So how well do you think they can fare in the tournament?
All depends on what seed they can get. Say if they get the 1 through 4 seed, I think they can fare well.
Mm-hmm.
But if they drop like to the 8th seed, where they got to play the 9th, where they got to play 9th seed, don't be surprised if that 9th seed upset them.
Anything under a 2nd seed for this Illinois team is a failure. Period. This team is one of the top 8 teams in the nation. Anything under a 2nd seed is a failure.
On paper, they won the top 18.
Hey, man. Anything else you want to add?
Yes, I want to say this. Io say he want to make it to the NBA. Well, if he continue to play like he did today, he looked like he should have entered the draft last year. I do think he'll be fine for the rest of the season. But Kofi Coburn, you said you want to make it to the NBA. You can't make it to the NBA if your hands do not catch the ball and you're a big man. You can't be dropping the ball. When you get the rebound, you got to grab the rebound. Don't drop the ball all the time. When somebody do an entry pass to you, quit fumbling the ball. You have to be able to catch the ball when you're a big man. You have to have, when you get a defensive rebound, an offensive rebound, you have to look for the man outside the 3-point line. If the shot isn't there, if the putback isn't there, you have to look for the man outside the 3-point line, which you don't do. It doesn't help that your defense is that your center position is a dying breed in the NBA. Um, but that's all I got to say. You got any last words, KT?
I think that was great advice. We will be back Saturday night, maybe early Sunday morning. Um, to see how Illinois does against Iowa this week. Is the game is still on, correct?
Yep, and they got a football game Saturday too. So
Oh yeah, that's right. So both teams play Saturday. So I guess Saturday will be kind of a double feature where we talk about both the football and basketball team. If they both win, that kind of guarantees Illinois a bowl game, right?
I think they have to beat Northwestern who make it to
I,
a bowl game. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure about the rules with the whole COVID situation going around about the bowl games and what you need to qualify for. So I'm not too sure.
uh, that is that is interesting. This whole dynamic is interesting, man. Even with Ohio State only playing 4 games, and you were telling me earlier that Michigan may possibly yeah, pretend that they can't play the last week of the season. Oh man, that this whole like I said, it's just an interesting dynamic. I mean, with the whole COVID-19 situation, like I said, having college sports has given us normalcy, but it's definitely given us a lot of weird dynamics. But that's all I had to say, brother.
Hmm. Well, I guess I close out.
Yes, sir.
Every Illinois fan, uh, every Illinois fan, don't be sad out there. Don't be like me. Don't be an emotional fan so much. And like KT was when Russell Westbrook got traded to the Wizards today. Um, um, everybody wear your mask. Wash your hands continuously. Stay clean, and I guess we catch you Sunday morning maybe. We out.
Hey, we out. Wear your mask. It's okay to wear your mask.